Trigger warning. Ghosts, ghouls, and gruesome stuff ahead. It's weird, it's dark, it's your kind of vibe.
Welcome to Haunted and Homicidal, the podcast where true crime meets the paranormal. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Courtney. Every week we uncover the terrifying, the twisted, and the totally unexplainable. Lock your doors and grab your sage.
Because things are about to get haunted and homicidal. Hey guys, welcome back.
What's up?
If you made it through Monday, good for you. Cool stuff. It's going to be one of those multi-parter episodes because there's just so much information about this guy that we want to be able to cover, and you guys know, obviously.
Yes.
But we're still going to continue with like our paranormal. Still going to be Monday, Thursdays. So I guess we will just go ahead and get into it.
So I'm about to butcher this name. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Yeah. So it was constructed between 1858 and 1881 and remains the largest hand-cut stone masonry building in North America.
Okay.
It was designed by architect Richard Andrews, and it was based on the Kirkbride Plan, a 19th century model for mental health facilities.
I was going to say, should I know what that is?
I'm explaining.
Well, you just said it with like so much conviction, like everybody should already know what this is.
And then I was going to say what it was. So, which is a 19th century model for mental health facilities that emphasized fresh air, natural light, and the therapeutic power of environment.
Okay.
Your favorite thing.
Yeah.
Its long, staggered wings were carefully laid out to ensure that each room had access to sunlight and cross ventilation.
Okay.
And although it was very large, it was originally intended to only house around 250 patients.
Way better than 3,000.
Yes, because this limit reflected the belief that a superintendent could only manage a certain number of individuals effectively while maintaining quality of care.
Yes. At least someone fucking figured it out.
Yeah.
Or not. Okay.
The hospital opened to patients in 1864, but as years passed and funding models changed, the patient population ballooned. So by the 1950s, the asylum held more than 2,400 people in overcrowded, often inhumane conditions.
So in the 1800s, they were like, hey, we need to treat these people like they're actually fucking people. We need to give the right level of care. We need to design the place that they're living in to be conducive to their therapy, to their treatment, to their getting better. We need to make sure that the patient to staff ratio is within limits to actually be effective. And then the 1900s come along and everybody's like, no.
No.
Okay.
So, pre-asylum era, so a brief history on mental health.
Uh-huh.
So, mental illness treatment has never been perfect. Never.
I don't think it's even been close.
Yeah, many argue it's still not perfect, but it has come a long way.
Yeah.
So, methods 50 years ago would seem archaic. And one of the earliest known methods of mental illness treatment was trephination, which has gone back several thousand years.
Mm-hmm.
Surgeons would drill or cut a piece of your skull to relieve pressure in your brain.
Okay.
It was a popular way to get rid of headaches, any mental disorder, or even believe demonic possession. Just don't ask your insurance about it.
So like, what if you had like chronic headaches? Like you have a headache, they cut a piece out of your skull, you're good for like 2 weeks, and then oh shit, you've got another fucking. Did they cut another piece out of your skull?
Probably.
Oh my god. Okay.
Bloodletting became
I know what that is.
a popular treatment around the 1600s. The idea was that the illness were caused by an imbalance in the body, and the best way to fix that imbalance was to drain the body of impurities such as blood. However, it was institutions and asylums that were becoming the ideal method of dealing with mental illness around this time.
Mm-hmm.
In truth, asylums were a convenient way to isolate the mentally ill from society, like sweeping dirt under a rug.
Yep.
Except these were human beings.
Yeah.
And so as further treatment, they were chained up, unclothed, and treated like animals.
Of course they were, because why not?
Exactly. Early colonists arriving in North America brought the beliefs from the old country. And unfortunately, insanity have fallen under the latter. And so, like I said, they thought they were possessed.
Yeah.
So when they saw people exhibiting aberrant behavior, they were possessed by demons or witches, and on occasion by the devil himself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in those times where religion was like peak religion time, witches, whatever, like anybody acting out of the normal realm of behaviors was seen as demonic. I mean, and I do understand that to an extent, because back then they didn't know any better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's crazy to me.
So, of course, you have the notorious Salem witch trials of 1692. Mm-hmm. So, in recent studies of the historical documents describing the symptoms of the accused, modern psychologists have concluded that a majority of the executed witches were most likely insane. Like, they most likely had mental health issues.
Yeah.
And witch hunting was not isolated to Puritan New England. It was a common practice throughout the colonies.
Ooh.
Throughout the next century in colonial America, the treatment of an insane person was almost invariably barbaric. Mm-hmm. Those without family or friends who took responsibility for them were mostly placed in prisons in the company of common criminals, often chained to walls, unclothed regardless of temperature, and mixed in their own filth.
Yep.
Some families did take responsibility, although they were more concerned with hiding their problematic relatives to avoid embarrassment than trying to help them.
Yep.
They stashed them away in attics, secreted sheds, and even holes in the ground.
Oh, God.
Yes.
It reminds me of AHS Murder House.
Oh, yeah.
Where she's got her handicapped boy in the attic.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't until the 1770s that facilities began to be constructed specifically to house the insane. But again, these places were designed to extricate the individual from society, not to help him or her reassimilate throughout curative methods, because insanity was universally regarded as incurable.
Yep.
And the 1800s brought much needed change to the world of the insane. So through the efforts of some enlightened individuals, most prominently Dorothea Dix, yes, the desperate plight of the insane was brought to the attention of the public, and lawmakers were forced to commit funds for more humane care.
Mm-hmm.
So by the mid-century, Thomas Kirkbride's theory of creating a creative environment took hold, and the age of the asylum had arrived. So about Dorothea Dix. So she was a social reformer. And according to one of her biographers, she exemplified one of the rare cases in history where a social movement of such proportions can be attributed to the work of a single individual. She was a teacher, nurse, and a social reformer, but known for her I can't read what I write. Indefatigable commitment to improving the treatment of the mentally ill during the 19th century. She was born the eldest of 3 children in Maine in 1802 to an abusive, alcoholic father and a mentally unstable mother.
And see, this is how things can work out. Like, every murder, homicide, whatever, bad childhood, and they go on to kill people. She had a equally horrific childhood, and she went on to do amazing, incredible things for people.
Yes. She took it upon herself to raise her 2 infant brothers and consequently had no childhood of her own. And despite little formal education, she was intellectually gifted and driven. She opened a private school in Worcester, Massachusetts at age 15. where she taught young girls at a time when they were little to no educational opportunities available to females. And 5 years later, she opened a similar school in Boston. Like, she opened a school at 15.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, she went through absolutely horrible conditions as a child also, but did not go down the path that a lot of these people do. She went the opposite. I guess the road less traveled, because, you know, we see so many people with the same upbringing and experiences doing really bad things.
So, a life-altering event occurred in 1841 when she visited a local jail in Cambridge, Massachusetts. There, she observed mentally ill inmates chained naked to stone walls in cells without heat or ventilation.
Okay.
Yeah. The horror of what she witnessed inspired what was to become a lifelong crusade to improve the treatment of the mentally ill. She managed to gain the attention of the Massachusetts state legislature, which authorized funds to improve the dreadful conditions she exposed to the public. Following her success in Massachusetts, she traveled extensively to other United States as well as Europe and Asia, observing and exposing similar barbaric conditions and spurring worldwide improvements in the treatment of the insane.
Mm-hmm.
And her efforts were rewarded when the first state hospital for the mentally ill was opened in Trenton, New Jersey in 1848. This was the second asylum built following the plan of Thomas Kirkbride, with whom she worked closely. Okay. I'll talk to him in a second.
You'll talk to him?
I'll talk about him in a second.
I was going to say, like, isn't he dead?
Yes.
Do you have some powers that I don't know about right now?
Bitch, I wish.
Right? Can I talk to you for a second? The dead guy over there, please?
Yes. But, of course, the strain of it all took its toll on her, physically and mentally.
Oh.
She suffered several debilitating breakdowns during her lifetime and eventually admitted herself to the same Trenton hospital that represented the fruit of her efforts. And she was given a private apartment where she spent the remaining 6 years of her life, dying there in 1887.
Oh.
So now I shall explain Thomas Story Kirkbride.
Okay.
The fact that his middle name is Story.
I mean,
so he was born to...
Is it spelled like story?
Yeah, like Story.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was born to a family of Quaker farmers on July 31st, 1809 in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. His father said he was too frail for farming, but recognized his intelligence and sensitivity, encouraged him to pursue a medical career. He said, "You too weak for farming, so you can go do something else."
Right. Well, I mean... yeah, okay.
Yeah. So at age 18, after completing his primary education, he began to study medicine under the tutelage of Dr. Nicholas Belleville in Trenton, New Jersey, eventually being awarded a degree in medicine from the University of Pennsylvania in 1832.
Nice.
He wanted to be a surgeon, which was the most prestigious and lucrative specialty in medicine. However, he was not able to gain residency at the Pennsylvania Hospital in Philadelphia, and instead, through family connections, offered residency at the Quaker-run Friends Asylum for the Insane in Frankfort, a small town on the outskirts of Philadelphia. He accepted the position not out of any particular interest in treating the insane, but as a springboard for his future candidacy at the Pennsylvania Hospital. So he was like, yeah, I don't want to, but maybe it'll help me get in with the hospital I want.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So at Friends, he observed and was impressed by the moral treatment of patients. Friends Asylum was progressive for its time, establishing a family atmosphere, removing physical restraints, and providing the patients with stimulating mental and physical activities.
Okay.
And he applied himself thoroughly, and his superiors wrote of him as faithful and exemplary discharge of his duties.
That's good.
And although he had a very good experience at Friends, it would prove invaluable in his future endeavors, because he still longed to be a surgeon. He still wanted so badly to be a surgeon. And of course, his wish was granted when in March 1833, he was offered a residency at the Pennsylvania Hospital where he wanted to be.
Nice.
And elated, he accepted immediately, with no thoughts of ever returning to the treatment of the insane.
Oh.
Which he still ended up going back. His performance at his new post was typically outstanding. He also nurtured a growing private practice, which generously had a lot of income. So in both careers, he was known for his kindness and compassion in treating patients, sane or otherwise, and that did not go unnoticed. So in 1840, the hospital governors, based mostly on his exemplary record at Friends, offered him the position of superintendent of the newly built Pennsylvania Hospital for the Insane. He accepted, again, more for the prestige and financial security it offered than any personal desire to return to the treatment of the mentally ill.
Okay.
Yet, this is what he did for the rest of his 43 years. So he was like, I can do what I want. I'm not going to go back to mentally insane. And then ends up going back to mentally insane.
Because it had prestige and it had money.
Yes.
I mean, and obviously he probably enjoyed it at some point because he stayed with it for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. So his theory on what he referred to as the moral treatment of the insane, a constructive idea unique to the U.S. for mental asylums from the mid to late 19th century. So, essential to the realization of his vision was moving patients from overcrowded city jails and almshouses, where patients were often chained to walls in cold, dark cells,
oh my God,
to a rural environment with grounds that were tastefully ornamented and buildings arranged in echelon, which resembling a shallow V if viewed from above.
Mm-hmm.
So this design called for a long, rambling wings that provided therapeutic sunlight and air to comfortable living quarters so that the building itself promoted a curative effort, or as Kirkbride put it, a special apparatus for lunacy.
At least he was trying, and he was trying to get people out of the prison where he knew that people were not being treated properly, like in many senses of the word, you know, and trying to get them to where they needed to be to get the help that they actually needed, because they're mentally ill. They're not criminals.
So these facilities were designed to be entirely self-sufficient, providing the patients with a variety of outlets for stimulating mental and physical activities.
Okay.
And so his plan, his big old plan, influenced the construction of over 300 similar facilities throughout North America. However, the 20th century brought changes in treatment philosophy, deinstitutionalization, and more community-based treatment. The theory of building as cure, quote unquote, was largely discredited. So they pretty much said, fuck your plan.
Yeah.
The expense of maintaining these facilities, combined with physical deterioration, has forced them to be mostly abandoned and many demolished. The new superintendent totally immersed himself in the murky world of the insane, collecting and devouring everything written on the treatment and housing of the mentally ill. He was like, you know what? Since y'all want to not do my plan, I'm going to freaking figure out something else. God. It was the buildings themselves that most interested him. He noticed aspects in the design of the new facility that he considered ill-planned in regard to creating a restorative ambience. Yes. And he began to envision a hospital environment that in itself, by its very design, would have a curative effect.
Okay.
So by the early 1850s, the growing patient population was putting a strain on Kirkbride's hospital, as it had come to be known, which gave him an opportunity to realize his vision. So he convinced the hospital governors to approve funds to build a new facility based on his theories.
Okay.
So the Kirkbride plan was born. He was a founding member of the Association of Medical Superintendents of American Institutions of the Insane and served as its president for 8 years.
Okay.
And then in 1854, Kirkbride published On the Construction, Organization, and General Arrangements of Hospitals for the Insane. That's a long-ass title. Which was quickly recognized as the definitive work on the subject and secured his reputation as one of the leading experts in the treatment of the mentally ill.
Okay.
He survived assassination attempt by one of his patients and married and raised a family, and he died in Philadelphia on December 16th, 1883.
Oh, wow.
So that's him with the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now the building was also used as an important military post.
After? Okay.
So, because I got to explain all the history before I get to the ghosts.
Yeah.
It's a lot of freaking history. So the Civil War was the most uproarious event in American history. It not only divided the country, but splintered families and friendships into bitter adversaries.
Okay.
So the emerging Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, the town of Weston and surrounding Lewis County, then still part of Virginia, was no exception.
Okay.
The events that took place here, although generally unknown, played a key role in remodeling the U.S. So when hostilities broke out in April of 1861 with the bombardment of Fort Sumter, the Civil War, which would eventually extinguish over 600,000 American lives, had began. So at that time, the asylum was still in the early stages of construction, so they're still working on it.
Okay.
So the southernmost wing had been completed, and a basement and a foundation for the massive central structure had been excavated and walled in. So they were slowly building it. So at 5 a.m. on the morning of June 30th, 1861, the citizens of Weston were roused from sleep by the sound of drums, fifes, and marching soldiers entering their town.
What are fifes?
And I forgot to look it up.
Oh, I will look it up.
I think it's so they have drums.
F-I-F-E?
Yeah, F-I-F-E.
Small high-pitched musical instrument, a council area in wait, no. That's not going to be it.
Yeah, that's it. That's how you spell it.
But it says a council area in Peninsula in Scotland.
Okay, so not that part, but a small high-pitched musical instrument.
Or a city in Washington. So it's got many different...
well, I think it's going to be the musical instrument.
A kind of small, shrill flute used with drum in military bands.
Yeah, so they have drums, because, okay.
Okay.
It was the 7th Ohio Infantry, which had marched all night from Clarksburg, approximately 25 miles to the north.
Okay.
In command was Colonel Erastus Bernard Tyler, who was familiar with the area and well known to many of its citizens.
They have some names from back in the day.
They really do. So he ordered his troops to sweep through the town and seize any individual suspected of Confederate sympathies. And one of his men, Captain List, took 2 armed soldiers and made a beeline for a specific location and the real purpose of the mission.
Okay.
So the location was the West Branch of the Exchange Bank of Virginia, which held almost $30,000 in gold deposited by the state government of Virginia to provide wages for those laboring on the new asylum.
Okay.
His mission was to seize the gold before it could be returned to Richmond and used to support the rebellion, even though it was supposed to be used for the asylum. He was like, no, you have all this money. You might use it for the other side.
Okay.
So we're going to take it.
So he had no proof that that's what was going to happen. He just thought was an assumption.
Yes.
Men.
Yes. So awakened by the commotion, the banker, Robert McLandish, who lived on the 2nd floor of the bank, appeared at the front door where it was demanded he turn over the contents of the vault. He objected, but there was little he could do other than what he was told. So List ordered the vault open and removed $27,000, worth well over $500,000 today.
Oh, wow.
Leaving only $2,371.23.
Okay.
Which the books established are as due to creditors. Mm-hmm. And the money was taken to Wheeling, where it would help fund the new state of Virginia, which in 1863 became West Virginia.
Okay.
So the partially built asylum and surrounding grounds became Camp Tyler, establishing Weston as an important military post, vital to the control of the well-traveled roads in the area. So the completed southern wing provided barracks, and the main foundation served as a stable. And then the Confederates raided in 1862 and 1863. And then in 1864, they confiscated another $5,287.85, which would strip the asylum of all food and clothing intended for his first group of patients.
What the fuck?
Yes. So at the end of the war, the completion of the asylum was prioritized. Mm-hmm. Consequently, while so many other towns were financially ruined by the war and would remain destitute for a decade, Weston did not experience post-war depression.
Okay.
Business boomed as the asylum established itself as the primary economic resource for the town. It would remain so until it closed 130 years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay.
So far, it doesn't sound like a lot of bad stuff happened there, really, because the main guy seemed to want to do right.
I haven't said what happened to the asylum yet.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So far, it doesn't seem like it's been anything
just a Civil War
horrible.
Part.
Yeah, I mean, and that was, but like as far as like the asylum prior to the war, that guy that was running it, he didn't seem to be bad. Like he wanted it to be done correctly. He had the plan, he followed it for 43 years.
Yeah. Yeah, so far it's just like a lot of history first.
Yeah, it's a lot of history, but like it's not, it doesn't seem to be like your other one.
So nothing bad happened before.
Yeah.
So now we get to.
So it was an asylum, barracks, or a military post, and now it's going back to an asylum.
Yeah, so it was kind of like a hospital first because he wasn't really asylum yet, and he was like they were still building it.
Okay, so it's like a medical area, and then it turned into that for the Civil War people, and then now it's going. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so now it's gonna be the asylum.
Okay.
So. Today, most people would seek mental health for depression or trauma. And so, for reasons why you're admitted at this asylum, intemperance and business trouble, imaginary female trouble, jealousy and religion.
Hold on. You just glowed, if that's even a word, glided right over that one. What are imaginary female troubles?
It never explained. It just gave me a list.
Hold on.
Because I tried to look.
Let me see.
But I was like...
What are imaginary female troubles? What year was this?
19th century?
Female hysteria. Okay, so imaginary female troubles refer to a medical diagnosis like hysteria and chlorosis, which were used to explain a wide range of women's physical and psychological symptoms. These were not based on sound evidence, but on patriarchal beliefs that women's bodies and minds were inherently fragile and prone to illness, particularly due to their reproductive system.
Yes.
So obviously, hysteria was one of them. Women were so hysterical.
Yeah.
Mind you, after the pew-pew of this last person, all the men that were on the Book of Faces crying and having a fit, you were the hysterical ones. And then chlorosis, which means green sickness.
Okay.
It says it was a form of anemia diagnosed primarily in adolescent girls during the 19th century. An iron deficiency, basically. So it gave green yellowish skin, fatigue and weakness, menstrual irregularities, decreased and disturbed appetite, psychological origin.
Okay.
So just normal shit that women were going through
were
like, imaginary female troubles.
Yes.
Like, fuck you.
Jealousy and religion. Novel reading.
What? I'm sorry. They put you in a mental institution because you read book. Only women, though, right?
It didn't say who. It just
was
said
probably
novel.
just women.
Novel reading. Kicked in the head by a horse. Asthma.
Was the guy running this named Gaston by any chance?
It didn't say who, actually.
It's women and reading and their ideas.
Political excitement. Bad whiskey. Shooting of a daughter.
What?
And grief.
What?
I told you. They were like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck
Only of a daughter, though.
Yeah, shooting of a daughter.
You can shoot your son and
only of a daughter, apparently.
You're not crazy, but you shoot your daughter, you're fucking wild.
Yeah, apparently. So.
I am so fucking confused right now. Entertained.
Yes.
But confused.
Yes. So
bad whiskey?
Yes.
I mean, I probably go crazy over some bad alcohol too, but
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So life at the asylum. So in the beginning, life for the patients was probably pretty good, at least in the context of the mid to late 19th century. The asylum was built for ample room and sunlight and had over 600 acres for patients to roam. And since the asylum was self-sufficient, patients were able to learn trades during their stay, such as farming and sewing. And it was built to be calming and dignifying assistance for the 250 patients housed there. That was Kirkbride's dream, at least. That was
so
his dream.
250 is it's
because
a lot of people, but it's like not a lot.
Yeah, because he was like 250. That's gonna be the good amount to get the decent amount
to
of
get
treatment.
them the right treatment, right?
Yeah, so he was like, that was his dream.
Patient to doctor ratio. Okay.
Yeah, that was his dream. It quickly filled up. So by 1881, over 700 patients. By 1938, there was 1,600.
Jeez.
By 1949, there was nearly 1,800. By the 1950s, there was an estimated 2,400 patients, most they would ever see. It became overcrowded.
Yeah.
Resources were scarce, and there wasn't enough staff to maintain patients. The building's foundations were deteriorating, and sanitation had become impossible to maintain.
Oh, man.
It became a literal madhouse.
Sounds like a cesspool.
Yes. Worst of all, the patients became violent, attacking one another, attacking the staff, even going as far as killing one another.
Oh, jeez.
There's a story of a nurse being killed by a patient, but at first she was originally only reported as missing. They found her body at the bottom of a stairwell months later. Another story depicts two patients hanging another patient by a bedsheet. Yeah, they were crazy. They got crazy. Too many people.
Way too many people.
And perhaps towards the later half of the 20th century, the asylum was able to give care to those who needed it with advances in modern medicine and a significantly smaller population of patients. But the violence and cruelty that took place inside the walls of its once beautiful institute have tainted any good it had once done. So, torturous treatments.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, it's an asylum. I should have seen this coming. The first part was good. I like the first part.
Yeah, first part was good. Now I'm on to the worst part. I'm on to the better part.
The batter part?
The better part.
Okay.
The better. The blah, 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 blah.
Oh.
Blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the 130 years that the asylum was open, mental health treatment went through several fads.
Okay.
Although every single one of them was agonizing and inhumane.
Oh, God.
So the first half of the 20th century saw no bounds to the horrible creativity that the so-called scientific mind could conjure up. So, a popular method in the 1930s was insulin coma therapy. It was believed that changing patients' insulin levels, as in placing them in diabetic comas, could rewire their brains and cure their illness.
It cannot. It can kill you.
Yes. Of course, the side effects included permanent brain damage, prolonged comas, and death.
Yeah.
And then you had metrazole therapy that had disastrous results.
Yeah.
Because it was believed that inducing seizures in
And what? Oh.
I cannot say this word today, apparently.
Sound it out slowly.
Schizophrenic patients.
There you go. Okay, we're getting there.
God, that was a struggle. Good Lord.
I heard that.
Okay. Would help calm them and lighten their symptoms.
No.
The only thing that the patients got out of it was fractured bones and torn muscles.
Jesus Christ.
And of course, the most popular treatment and the most dehumanizing was the lobotomy. It involved taking a needle-like instrument, almost like an ice pick. Oh, I hate it when they did this. And jabbing it into the brain, cutting off prefrontal cortex connections. Yep. Believing it was the be-all and end-all cure for mental illness, it was performed nationwide.
Yep, there's a lot of information about lobotomies out there. Bailey Sarian actually does a really, really, really good episode on her Dark History series about lobotomies. It's fascinating.
At best, patients were left with severe motor function issues, cognitive changes, behavior changes, and personality changes. At worst, they were left in a vegetative state.
Yep.
These are what the patients look forward to day in and day out for years, sometimes decades, if they lived long enough. Many of those who suffered still suffer in this life and the next.
That's crazy.
Now we're on to the hauntings.
Okay.
Okay. So the famous patients of the dead are almost household names to those curious enough to go looking for them.
Okay.
It is believed that about 8 fully fledged spirits roam the asylum to this day.
Only 8?
Only 8. It says only 8.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's better than 2,000 and some odd patients.
Each one had its distinct personality and history. Some are docile, but some are not, and are to be avoided at all costs.
Oh, how do you... I mean, hopefully they tell you how and who.
Yeah, so this is going to be the good spirits first. So, probably one of the most well-known spirits in the asylum is that of Lily. She's the spirit of the little girl who used to live there.
Little kids, man. Why?
But she was not a patient. Her history is different from others. So, Lily was born inside the asylum.
Oh, God.
Her mother was admitted after the Civil War, unaware that she was pregnant.
Due to mental illness, or just she didn't know at that time?
I guess we didn't say.
Oh, okay.
The mother would end up dying from childbirth, leaving the nurses to care for little Lily.
Oh.
At age 9, Lily contracted pneumonia and died.
Oh.
Never to know what life was like outside the asylum.
Poor baby. Didn't even get to go anywhere.
No. So, those who go to visit her room will leave toys for her to play with.
Oh.
And some have even sworn they've seen a toy or two move.
I still don't like it.
There's even a story of a woman touring the asylum with a group of people where she began having a conversation with the little girl.
Mm-mm.
The girl seemed lost, so the woman was trying to convince her to join the group. Yet when she turned around a moment later, the girl was gone.
Mm-mm.
And then another spirit named Elizabeth, who was known to roam the hallways of the asylum. Not much is known about her other than she was a nurse. And perhaps even in death, she's still taking care of patients.
Oh.
And there's a ghost, either named Jesse or James, depending on who asks, who used to reside in the asylum. And the story goes that he had a heart attack in the bathtub.
Oh, wow.
And his spirit remains in the bathroom to this day.
No, see, I don't like that.
He's stuck in the bathroom.
I definitely... I don't like it.
And now the bad.
Because, like... I mean, I guess if you're in the bathroom and you need to take a shit, you're constipated, and this fucking ghost pops up and you just shit yourself. Like, I mean, you're in the right place, I guess, so.
All right, now we're on to the bad ones.
The bathroom one is the bad one. As long as he doesn't grab my hand and try to drag me up a wall, I'm okay.
They are monsters when they were alive and continue to be now they are dead.
Oh, man.
Okay. There is a story of 2 sadistic patients who attempted to hang another patient. They tried several times with little success. They decided to go several steps beyond that. Several bloody, horrifying steps.
Oh, no.
They forced the patient's head underneath the bedpost and proceed to jump on the bed.
No. Oh, my
repeatedly.
fucking God, no. Absolutely not. That turned my stomach. Oh, my God. Oh, my fucking God.
Mm-hmm. And the spirits of the 2 patients have taken the form of black shadows. They're known to suck the life and energy out of any room they enter.
Is the murdered patient like a ghost, or is it just
it doesn't say you like it doesn't say you feel him, you feel the other 2.
What?
People have been known to feel comfortable and ill around their presence.
Okay. There's
another evil spirit known as Slewfoot.
Okay. What?
And whoever this person used to be remains a mystery.
Okay.
All that is known is that he used to be a horrendous murderer who would kill people in the upstairs bathroom. They say he still roams the upper floors to this day. You never want to cross paths with Slewfoot.
And so, like, if they don't know who he was, how do they know he was a murderer that killed lots of people in the bathroom?
Because I guess they know that part, but they don't know who he actually is. I guess I don't fucking know.
That's really confusing, but okay.
It is, because I was trying to find shit, and I couldn't find shit. So I was like, "How do you know what he?" I'm like, "How do you know this dude?" Okay, eyewitness accounts. So tour guides. There's one guide who has worked there for a decade. Some of the things he's seen are bizarre. Others are downright terrifying. So one night, he and another guide were conducting conversation with any nearby spirits using a spirit box in one of the many rooms.
Okay.
The device gives off radio frequencies that ghosts can allegedly use to form audible words. So for most of the night, he was hearing nothing but static until one word popped out. The spirit box said evil.
Evil.
His coworker then frantically tried to get them out of the room.
Yeah.
The other god explained that she had heard the sound of feet shuffling by the doorway and asked if the spirit making the noise was nice. Immediately after that, the spirit box said evil.
So I am not nice. I am evil. Thank you.
Another night, the guide was showing a group around when he began to feel lightheaded and disoriented. Not long after, he began to feel this intense burning sensation on his back. It was getting worse and worse as the night went on. Finally, he had enough and asked a coworker to check his back for anything. When she lifted his shirt, she found what looked like a large 4-inch red mark. It almost looked like a scratch. It stayed on his back for a week, and to this very day, that part of his back feels weird on occasion.
Okay.
So, since becoming a tourist destination for the unexplained and unknown, the asylum has brought in ghost hunters from all over the nations. Shows like Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters, which I couldn't find the Ghost Adventures one.
Really? I like Ghost Hunters better anyway, but that's crazy. That's like the second time you haven't been able to find one.
Because they don't have all the fucking episodes.
Yeah.
On Discovery.
That is insane. They don't have them anywhere.
That makes me so mad.
Anywhere.
Yeah, they skip seasons.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't understand what's
And
happening.
most recently, the popular YouTube channel Watcher did a ghost hunt. They placed cameras throughout the asylum. They managed to pick up various unexplained noises like bumps, crashes, whistling, and heavy breathing. A camera in Lily's room even managed to pick up what sounded like a woman screaming in the distance. Okay. However, perhaps one of the most fascinating things they captured that happened to Ryan Bergara, one of the co-creators of Watcher. He felt this pulling sensation on one of the pieces of equipment on his belt as if something was physically pulling it. And the cameras even managed to capture footage of not only his jacket moving on his own,
Oh, wow.
but one of the pieces of equipment on his belt as well.
Oh, damn.
Yes. So, the asylum today. So, after the asylum closed its doors in 1994, it lay vacant for years. Several efforts were made to either repurpose or restore the building and grounds, but none were successful, and the asylum continued to deteriorate. It sustained even more damage in 1999 when all 4 floors were heavily damaged by a paintball tournament held by off-duty police officers.
What?
Yes. 3 officers were dismissed from duty due to this incident.
I mean, you're trespassing, number one, and as an officer of the law, you should fucking know better, but also I love hearing that because that's great.
Yeah.
Not that they got fired, but
they damaged 4 floors.
Yeah, not that they got fired, but that they had like a paintball tournament there. Just six of the guys having fucking fun, probably drinking.
Yeah. So in 2007, the asylum was finally sold off in an auction to Joe Johnson, who has been working tirelessly to restore the building to what it once was. The restoration efforts are funded through several tours that are given out every year. Since its opening as a tourist destination, the asylum has had more than 200,000 visitors from all over the world to come see this once great hospital.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, I was mad. I couldn't find the episode. I wanted to watch it.
And you know what's crazy? So mine for this week is going to be skinwalkers. These are very complicated because what we know skinwalkers as, because of like media and movies and stuff, it's very different than what the Navajo legend of skinwalkers are, which is where this comes from. And so like the whitewashed skinwalkers is very derogatory and appropriated, and it's not a good time. So we're going to talk about like the actual skinwalkers from Navajo legend, not what America has turned it into.
Okay.
You know, so for me, like, until I researched this, I just thought skinwalkers were just like supernatural beings that turned into other people, you know, like they weren't human, they were subhuman or cryptids or whatever, but that's really not the case. So a skinwalker is a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal, according to Navajo culture, and the term is never used for like spiritual healers. Navajo, and I am going to absolutely butcher this. They call them Yi Naldolushi. Translating it to quote unquote by means of it, it goes on all fours. So that's what that name translates to. It is one of several types of skinwalkers within the Navajo belief. These witches are out to do harm and are seen as the antithesis of Navajo values, performing malevolent ceremonies and using manipulative magic in stark contrast to the beneficial works of medicine people. So again, it's basically saying like, you know, both types are witches, but they don't denote good witches or medicine men as skinwalkers. They're completely two separate things. They are not seen as quote unquote supernatural beings. Rather, they are human, but they're witches and they can harness the power of evil. So they are not inherently evil themselves. They can just harness and manipulate evil. Okay. The legend of skinwalkers is deeply embedded in Navajo tradition and rarely discussed with outsiders. This reticence is partly due to cultural taboos and the lack of contextual understanding by non-Navajos. So a lot of the time they don't talk about it because their experiences are different than those who were non-Native people. Mm-hmm. So they don't really like to talk about it because they don't understand it. People who are not of the culture don't understand it the way like a Native would understand it. Yeah. The stories often depict skinwalkers using their powers for evil, and they are considered a source of fear and mystery within the Navajo community. Traditional accounts describe them as powerful sorcerers who, after engaging in various nefarious acts, gain the ability to transform into animals at will. So through doing things that they're not supposed to do, if they are witches, etc., they in turn gain that ability. It's like an earned quote unquote ability. It's not something that, again, like I said earlier, is innate. It's just the ability to harness that power and use it. While community healers and cultural workers are known as medicine men and women, or by other positive terms in the community's indigenous language, witches are typically seen as evil, performing harmful ceremonies and manipulative magic in a perversion of the good works medicine people traditionally perform. So they're saying like the medicine men, it's like a complete 180 from what the witches are. Mm-hmm. Like witches only do evil, medicine men only do good. So they are polar opposites, basically. In order to practice their good works, traditional healers may learn about both good and evil magic in order to protect against evil. So that makes sense. Like you have to know what you're protecting yourself against so you can recognize it and like, stop it.
This is evil. This is,
Right. So they learn both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
But people who choose to become witches are seen as corrupt. So they're like, I kind of like the evil part more than the good part. And so then they become the evil witches who in turn become skinwalkers. Most witches are male. Warlocks. But can also be females, which, you know, it's crazy because like the only time we really see witches projected in any kind of media or book, it's females, like in the Salem witch trials. Like I think it was only women.
I think they had maybe one or two guys,
but it was primarily women. Yeah. It's crazy. Men, you can be whatever you want to be, okay? In some stories, witches begin as healers or spiritual guides who helped others, but eventually used their power for evil purposes. The initiation rite to become a skinwalker is conducted by a secret group. To gain the supernatural powers needed to shift shape to animal form, the witch must kill a close family member, preferably a sibling.
What if you don't have siblings?
There's got to be something else, but it says a close family member. So it doesn't have to be a sibling if you are an only child. If you're close to your aunt, uncle, mom, dad, cousin, it could be anybody, but the way in which someone becomes a shape-shifting skinwalker is to kill a close family member. Everybody has some family member, so that's kind of like a loophole maybe. Skinwalkers usually appear as bears, cougars, coyotes, dogs, foxes, or wolves, but can take on any animal shape. So it seems like they mainly take on animal bodies rather than like human. Like, so they don't transform.
But don't they do it like? But haven't they shown not, like in movies? Don't they do more like they turn into people
in Western culture?
Okay.
Us Americans, we did that.
Okay.
We did that in Native Navajo.
They're more animals.
Where this story originates from, it's animal, and that's why they don't talk about it a lot, because America, etc., has just taken their truth and turned it into something that's not, which white people fucking tend to do. They take and make it their own, and then get mad when someone's like, "That's not how the fuck it is, man."
Yeah,
that's not how it is. So it seems like these animals or these skinwalkers they turn into animals. Now later we do find out that they do like mimic voices, human voices, but it doesn't seem like they turn into these people. They just mimic, which fucking birds can do. They can mimic voices.
They can't. It's creepy as shit.
They choose their shape based on the abilities that they need, such as claws, stealth, speed, strength, and teeth. And may transform into another animal if they need to elude pursuit. So they can start out as one animal, but if they're being chased, they can turn into a bird and fly off. Like Sam from True Blood. It's mainly a dog, but then when he gets in trouble, he can shapeshift into a bird and fly. Or it was actually his brother. His brother did that. I haven't
finished True Blood. I'm only on like the 3rd episode of the 1st season.
Okay, well, this is like way further season when he finds out he has a family and his brother, and he finds out like why he transforms into a dog. Brother does too, but he can also transform into a bird, which is how he manages to get away. He's robbing Sam, and that's how he manages to get away and out of the window from robbing him. Yeah. So that's kind of what happens here. They turn into one animal, but then they can turn into a different animal to elude capture, etc.
Okay.
These witches have other powers as well. They can hold others in their power by locking eyes with the victim and can force them to do the witch's bidding, which, I mean, that's pretty much any witch story ever. They can read minds and can use their magic to cause illness, death, or destroy property. Skinwalkers can control nocturnal creatures such as owls and wolves, call up the spirits of the dead, and reanimate corpses. So they are necromancers. They can turn into other animals, and they can make you do shit that you would not normally do under the influence, you know?
Yeah.
As of 1986, the legend of the Skinwalker is not well understood outside of Navajo culture, both due to the reluctance to discuss the subject with outsiders, as well as what Cherokee Nation academic Adrienne Keene says is a lack of the necessary cultural context the stories are embedded with. So again, because it is a Navajo folklore, Navajo culture, Navajo story, they, one, don't talk about it a lot, but two, when they do, other people just don't understand. Yeah. They just don't have any comprehension around it. So it doesn't translate well because either people don't want to hear it or don't understand what they're hearing. And I don't mean don't want to hear it as in like covering their ears and rocking back and forth. I mean, you know, when you talk to somebody, they just don't want to hear what you're saying. Yeah. They just refuse to hear it. They won't listen to what you're telling them because they know better or they had a different experience anyway. So that's kind of why it's not well understood. And I think on top of that, that could be why Western culture has molded it into what the creators want it to be versus what it actually is, just because, you know, they don't talk about it and they don't have to. They don't have to. Traditional Navajo people are reluctant to reveal Skinwalker lore to non-Navajos or to discuss it at all among those who they do not trust. Keene, again, Adrienne Keene, the founder of the website Native Appropriations, has written in response to non-Navajos incorporating the legends into their writing, and specifically the impact when J.K. Rowling did so. That when this is done, quote unquote, we as Native people are now opened up to a barrage of questions about those beliefs and traditions, but these are not things that need or should be discussed by outsiders at all. I'm sorry if that seems quote unquote unfair, but that's how our culture survives. And she is not wrong. She is not wrong. So the main legend, animals associated with witchcraft usually include tricksters such as a coyote, like Wile E. Coyote.
Yes.
However, it may include other creatures, usually those associated with death or bad omens. They might also possess living animals or people and walk around in their bodies. This is like the only time it mentions possessing. But possessing people, it's completely different than shape-shifting into one.
Yeah.
So it's two different things. Skinwalkers may be male or female, so it's not gender specific. There are no gender roles in the skinwalker community. Skinwalker stories told among Navajo children may be complete life and death struggles that end in either skinwalker or Navajos killing each other, or a partial encounter stories that end in a stalemate.
Wait, what?
So the stories that were told between Navajo children or among Navajo children, it's like a life or death struggle.
Yeah.
Then in either the skinwalker killing the Navajo person, the Navajo killing the skinwalker.
Oh, okay.
Or neither of them winning.
Okay.
Both of them either dying together or walking away.
Yeah.
So encounter stories may be composed as Navajo victory stories, with the skinwalkers approaching a hogan, which is a traditional dwelling of the Navajo people, and being scared away. So it seems like the skinwalkers are scared of their alternate, the Navajo medicine men or women. Non-native interpretations of skinwalker stories typically take the form of a partial encounter story on the road where the protagonist is temporarily vulnerable, but then escapes from a skinwalker in a way not traditionally seen in Navajo stories. So again, appropriation and just doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes, just to get back at us, I guess, sometimes Navajo children take Western European folk stories and substitute skinwalkers for generic killers like Captain Hook.
Okay.
Yeah. Becoming a skinwalker, an individual, often a medicine person who has chosen to follow the dark path, must commit a terrible crime to gain their abilities, most commonly killing a close family member, which we talked about earlier. The transformation of a skinwalker, they can transform into various animals, such as, again, coyotes, wolves, foxes, owls, and crows. The specific animal they become is, again, chosen based on the abilities they want to harness. So if they want to spy on somebody, they might become a bird, sit in a tree, watch through a window.
Crap on their car.
Yeah, take a big old shit on the car. They do have magical abilities. Their powers are not limited to shape-shifting. They are also said to be able to control minds by making eye contact with the victim. They can possess or control that person. They can inflict curses, cause illness, death, or misfortune by casting spells or using personal items from a victim. They can mimic, perfectly imitate human voices and animal sounds to lure or confuse their victims. They can also create corpse dust. And this is powder reportedly made from ground bones of infants.
Aww.
And it can be blown into a victim's face to cause sickness or death. So there are some warnings and customs regarding skinwalkers. It is a cultural taboo. The topic of skinwalkers is considered taboo and is rarely discussed with outsiders. Navajo people often fear that speaking of them can attract their attention.
Man.
So it's like...
And you over here reading about them?
It's like speaking them into existence.
I go home and see a skinwalker. I'm coming for you.
You got some sage, right?
Oh. I have a bunch of crystals. I ain't got no sage.
Yeah, I got some sage and some Santo Paulo.
I have neither.
Oh, well, you gotta get some.
I have a bunch of crystals, but
that might work. Unnatural behavior. An animal acting strangely or unnaturally is considered to be a possible sign of a skinwalker's presence. Either they're the skinwalker or they're nearby. There are some warning signs. Stories describe skinwalkers by tapping on windows, scratching at doors, or mimicking voices to lure people outside. In their human form, they have eyes that look like animal eyes, and while in animal form, their eyes look like humans.
So seals are skinwalkers?
Seals are skinwalkers. Didn't we already talk about that? They take their skin off.
Oh, yeah, we did.
I didn't like that at all. That still freaks me out. They walk among the people by day, but transform at night. People who have seen skinwalkers say they look both human and animal-like at the same time. So again, seals.
Seals.
Or monkeys. Monkeys look like monkeys, and sometimes they look like people, and sometimes people look like monkeys.
That's true.
Yeah. They may be naked or wearing beaded jewelry. Sometimes they wear the tattered remnants of clothing, either from their victim or just something that they've had for a very long time. Because they cause harm and mischief, skinwalkers are often blamed for a lot of the shit that's going on in the communities, even though it might not be them. It's just easier to blame them for it because they are known to cause trouble. Fear of them led to the Navajo witch purge of 1878, in which 40 suspected witches were killed. So it was like the witch trials, the Salem witch trials, just for the Navajo Nation, because they were so scared of like them being skinwalkers that they just didn't want to take the risk, which sucks. I mean, I understand it, but it sucks. So there are some key differences from popular culture, like especially in Western, America kind of shit. Navajo specific lore, unlike how they're often portrayed in movies and online forums, skinwalkers are specific to Navajo culture and belief and not a general quote unquote Native American legend. They are specific to Navajo culture. It's not Algonquin. It's not Cherokee. It's not Seminole. It's not Cree. It's Navajo, specific to Navajo. And obviously, they respect the culture, and we should have respect for the culture. Navajo people disapprove of how their beliefs are sensationalized and appropriated by non-Navajos for entertainment, and stress the importance of understanding the proper contextual or the proper cultural context. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this one, because I feel like it's important for people to know that the skinwalkers that they see on TV or in movies, read about, are not right. They're not right at all. I believe the Navajo people deserve the right and respect if their lore is going to be
do it right.
Do it right. And I mean, I understand that it's difficult for people to do it right because the Navajo don't like to talk about it, but there's going to be somebody who can kind of guide the right way. Instead of being upset that it's being talked about, educate people, which obviously they do not fucking have to. They don't have to. But if it were me and I were in that position, I would want the correct information out there, so I would not keep being upset or having my people portrayed in a certain light that's not correct. But there are some protective measures that you can take if you feel like you are in skinwalker country, or you might attract a skinwalker or think that dog over there might be a skinwalker. Avoid whistling. Whistling in the woods during the day or the night is said to signal your location to a skinwalker, so don't whistle. Don't be like, and here comes like a weird looking dog.
I don't know how to whistle, so that works for me.
Yeah, so don't do it. Keep your composure. If you believe you are being followed, it's advised to walk calmly and not run, as running may trigger a pursuit.
So I mean,
they want you to run. They like to catch. They like to chase you. Your adrenaline is spiked. They want that. So it's much like if a man's following you, don't run, because they're going to chase you. Use divine power. Fervent prayer is considered a strong defense against these evil entities. So if you pray, if you believe in that kind of thing, and you think you're being stalked, chased, harassed by a skinwalker, just pray to whatever deity you feel like is going to help save you. If he doesn't, that's not my fault. This is just what it says to do. Seek traditional help. According to some accounts, a powerful Navajo shaman who knows good magic is the best way to fight a skinwalker. So a shaman, I think, is different from a medicine man. Shamans practice all different types of magic. Medicine men are mainly like the healers. Or you can use white ash. Bullets dipped in white ash are said to be effective against a skinwalker, but they must be shot in the head or the neck in order for it to be effective.
You better be a good shot.
So you also better not be an original, because the ash of the white oak will kill you.
Yes.
If it's dipped in the stabby thing and put through your heart.
In the stabby thing?
I can't think of what it's called.
A wooden stake?
Yeah, but they called it something else.
The dagger?
That might be it. I don't know.
I think it was a dagger.
Yeah. So I guess maybe skinwalkers are vampires also. I don't know. But you can kill a vampire and a skinwalker with white ash. I hope you guys never have to encounter a skinwalker, and I hope that if you guys are interested in the folklore of skinwalkers, that you do your own research and learn from maybe a Navajo person or that community that can actually give you correct and useful information rather than the way that America has modernized and whitewashed what a skinwalker actually is. I think it's important to understand different cultures and appreciate them. I really do, because America is nothing more than an amalgamation of numerous different cultures and peoples, and I think we should show appreciation to each of them because we wouldn't be what we are without it.
Yes.
Especially because I do have Native American blood, not enough to be of anything, but my mom and my papa were very important to me, and they were Native American, and they held on to their beliefs very, very strongly, even though they were just a fraction, small percentage. But I'm also my chair. Oh. I also have English and German, so it's always good to understand where you're coming from and respect those traditions and cultures, even if you don't agree with them. And I think that's one of the problems that we have today is that America thinks America is the only way, not realizing that the cultures we have are pretty much adopted and stolen from other people, other cultures, and just kind of twisted and flipped. Like Christmas, Easter, things like that are taken from pagan rituals from back in the day. Like nothing in America is original anymore. Or ever. It's never been original. No. It's been taken from somebody else, the people included.
Pretty much.
Anyway, that's the end of my diatribe, and that is the end of this week's episode. If you guys would like to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/hauntedandhomicidal. We still have our tiers open and available on Patreon, patreon.com/hauntedandhomicidal. We do have goodies. We have more goodies coming up. We will be posting pictures of our t-shirts soon because we're going to be wearing them to the Witchcraft Festival in New Orleans. Well, right out on the outskirts of New Orleans in 2 weeks.
Yes.
So be looking for those. We'll probably take pictures and stuff and put them on Facebook when we're there. So you'll probably be listening to this well after that. So sorry. But I think that is all. No, it is not all. If you would like to send us any suggestions or if you have questions, comments, your own little stories, whatever, hauntedandhomicidal@gmail.com. We love you guys. Thank you so much for your continued support. Tell all your friends about us or don't. I mean, that's whatever. Whatever you want to do. I don't care. Okay, bye.
Love you. Bye.